But on the issue of race, on the treatment of African Americans specifically, even being terrible at what they're doing has still proven to be disastrous for our country. And it is, in part, the posturing and from the White House and the president. That is stuff that validates and excites the worst bigots in the country, and that is consequential. But it's more than that, too. We are now about 16 months into what has been from day one a concerted and intense targeting of Black Americans, specifically by this president and by this administration. On his first full day in office, he proclaims war on diversity efforts, not only in government, but in any institution in the country over which he can exert leverage, everything from schools and universities to law firms to private businesses of every stripe. He then immediately started firing some of the highest profile Black public officials in the whole U.S. government, seemingly regardless of any other thing about them. I mean, right away, we get the firing of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles C.Q. Brown. We get the firing of the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden. And then it's Gwynne Wilcox from the National Labor Relations Board. And then it's Robert Primus, the chair of the Surface Transportation Board. And then it's Alvin Brown from the NTSB. And then it's Peggy Carr, the head of the National Center for Education Statistics. And then it's Willie Phillips from FERC, from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And then it's Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and on and on and on. When Trump and his top political donor, Elon Musk, then started just lopping off huge swaths of the federal government to disastrous practical effect, the largest and most egregious cuts targeted federal agencies that employed a disproportionate number of Black employees. Reporter Erica Green wrote about this a few months ago for The Times, noting that nothing had moved backwards in the federal government for Black Americans this quickly or this far in over 100 years. Since Woodrow Wilson came in 1912 and resegregated the federal workforce. Quote, Black employees were fired or demoted to lower-level jobs, relegated to separate and inferior lunchrooms and other facilities, and accused of making white women feel unsafe. Those who remained were humiliated. A Black worker in the Postal Service was surrounded by screens, so white workers would not have to look at him. Another employee had a cage built around him to separate him from his white counterparts. A clerk in the Treasury Secretary's office was assigned to rewrite all correspondence to address Black employees by their first names. The way Trump addressed the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, by her first name when he crowed publicly about firing her for no reason.
I didn't play the entire video because I wanted to offer an opinion on this, but it's actual and factual. I need Black people to understand that white people are very calculated, okay? When they set a goal to destroy anybody in the world, they usually reach that goal. It's not a coincidence, right, that Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, has a PhD in American history, not African studies like a lot of people have been reporting. I had to research this shit, okay? But you have to understand American history, how they appropriated Black people during slavery for you to understand what's going on right now. They are dismantling specific, gains by Black people, whether it's civil rights, whether it's voting rights, it doesn't matter. They're dismantling everything, every achievement and every accomplishment. And guess what? Black people are not planning. That is the problem, because they've always relied on people like Clarence Thomas. In order for slavery to thrive, they've always had like sellouts, the coons. And unfortunately, the system also puts a muzzle on anybody who's Black, who think, their lifestyle is more important than the, population at large, the Black population, because they're not going to risk their livelihood to fight for you. Same thing with, what's going on in South Africa, right? We don't hear Trevor Noah saying a fucking thing about it. He's constantly talking, but he's not talking about that. DJ Khaled, right? Never said one thing about fucking Palestine, because these people are basically addicted to the lifestyle. They don't give a fuck about their people. We have to find people who want to fight for us, people who want to be the voice. But in addition, and more importantly, we need to start planning, okay? I know y'all don't think I have a plan here. I do. A Time for Revenge, a Black Revolution, I was planning, okay? Just like they plan, I plan as well. I study them just as much as they study us. And unfortunately, a lot of y'all are not paying attention to what these people are doing. By 2057, the black wealth is supposed to go down to zero, okay? The average family wealth in America is going to go down to zero. Then what? You're going to go back to fucking slavery. This is why they have someone with a background in history, American history, to head the Heritage Foundation, because they know what it takes to enslave people. That's what this country was built on, and that's their goal, to return to that fucking, make America great again bullshit. And y'all need to wake the fuck up. Again, A Time for Revenge, The Black Revolution, Part 1 and Part 2. Pick them up.